before we get into the questions, I want to follow up on some. I got a few emails and a few Facebook questions. There were follow-up questions from yesterday's scope. It seemed like yesterday's video really hit a nerve when it comes to how to handle returns when they're finally returned to you, when it's returned to your Amazon inventory, when you return it back to your place of residence or your business, and you inspect them to make sure that they're actually not broke, if they're broken or not, if they're new or not, if they're still working, if they're defective, if they're, because people will complain. They'll say the item was defective or it didn't match the product description on the website, and they'll blame you for, a problem with the order when in fact they're just telling Amazon that the item is defective or didn't match the description on the website just so they can get a free return. It's really sad that people do that. You can catch that whole Periscope on catch.me/fulltime FBA, and that's catch with a K, KATCH.me/fulltime FBA, and you'll see everything I'm telling you to do to follow up to make sure that if you inspect the item and it's not defective, but the customer said it was, you need to make sure Amazon knows about that. If they say that it doesn't match the item description, and it really does, you need to follow up with that. So that's on the catch page for all my previous videos. But someone asked me a question because I said one of my tips is even if the item is returned to Amazon and Amazon deems it as sellable, I still think it's wise for you to get that, open up a return order, a removal order, and get that item returned to you so that you can inspect it to be sure that it really is sellable. You do not want an Amazon worker to make a decision that an item that a customer returned, possibly opened, possibly used, is still in new condition and sellable. So you want to make sure that you make that decision. But I had a few really intelligent people reach out to me and ask a follow-up question, and that was this. If you have multiple items in stock, say you've got 2 or 3 items in stock, maybe even 10 to 20 items in stock of the same item, and that person you orders that one of those items, says it's defective and returns it and Amazon gets it back, or maybe they said it didn't match the description, who knows what their reasoning is, but if it's returned to your inventory as sellable, you want to make sure that you get it back to look at. But how do you get it back? How do you get that one item back if you've got multiple items in stock in Amazon? And that's a really smart question. And my advice is this: if you only have 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of multiple items in stock, and someone returns it and Amazon deems it as sellable, I would open up a removal order for all of those items. If it's just 1, 2, or 3, I would set up a removal order so that you can inspect all of them to make sure that they're all still in working condition, new condition, whatever condition that you sent them in. Even if you're selling something as used or collectible, you want to make sure that all the pieces are still there, instructions are still there, all the stuff is still there, so that you don't get dinged sometime in the future when someone buys it and claims that it's defective when it's not your fault. It's the customer's fault who returned it. But if you have over 4 or more in stock, then it's up to you to decide whether you want to have all those items returned to you, or if you want to take your chances with the Amazon worker making that decision. And what I would do with that is either create a spreadsheet or maybe even a file in your inbox that only has items that were returned to your account as sellable, and it was deemed as sellable by Amazon. That way, if sometime in the future you get a return and a negative feedback that someone, that they bought something that was they thought was new and it was really used or it was incomplete, if you get a negative feedback for that, or if you get another return on that exact same item stating it's defective, you want to be sure that you have proof that you know that you can check up on that. So most of the time you'll be able to remember, but you need to make sure you have it written down so that there's no chance of missing out on that. You want to be able to go back to the spreadsheet and be like, oh, I got a return for this. I got a return for this item before. Let me go double check. Yep, that's one that Amazon deemed as sellable, and now it got another return. Or I got another negative feedback because of that. And then you can open up a ticket with Amazon and say, listen, someone else ordered this and returned it. You at the warehouse deemed it as sellable and sold it to somebody else, and that person wasn't happy with it either. It was obviously not sellable. You made a mistake, and I need to be reimbursed for that. So it's something that you need to look into. And again, you can check yesterday's video for more information about being reimbursed. I had someone return an item back to my Amazon inventory saying it was defective. I had it returned to me. I inspected it. I saw that it was not. I took pictures of it, told Amazon about it, and they said, you're right, the customer was wrong. We'll reimburse you for their original buy price. And it was awesome. Okay, how much of your business is wholesale? Right now, our current business is a big fat goose egg. There's no wholesale. But today, I am making my very first contacts with wholesalers. I am reaching out to wholesalers. I have been, for the month of December and January, I have been going through a wholesale course, and I've been learning about wholesale, learning about where to find wholesalers, how to interact with them, what to say to them, what to explain, how to tell them who I am, what I do, where I sell, how to set myself up for selling on Amazon with their wholesale account. So I'm going through that course. I finished all the videos, and today I'm reaching out to start the process. So right now, there's zero wholesale that we are involved in, but we are going to be expanding into wholesale in 2016, and when I start learning more and applying it and seeing the results, I'll start blogging about it. So be sure you're subscribed to the blog at fulltimefba.com to get updates on that. All right, how do you rank your private label products to get them going? This is another thing we're not doing private label. Right now we're doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, and thrifting, garage sales a little bit, but right now we're working out on wholesale. Private label might be another step down the road after we do wholesale, but we're not doing private label right now. All right, getting back to books, FBA, okay, it started to fade away and I missed that. So go ahead. The course that we went through for wholesale is called Wholesale Intel. You can Google that and find out more about that. We also have watched videos from the Proven Wholesale course. You can find out more about that at fulltimefba.com/proven-wholesale. You can find out more about that. Okay, next question. Again, ask it again if I didn't answer it. Sometimes I can't see them because I'm still answering the question. Is there a report about returns so you don't have to keep emails? There is a report about returns, but for some reason it's not always complete. Sometimes Amazon does not include every single return in that report, and I don't know why. I don't know why they pick and choose, but sometimes when a customer is refunded, it doesn't show up in your returns. I think one of the reasons why is because it maybe has not been actually returned yet. It wasn't returned. Customers have 45 days to actually return the item, and a lot of times those items don't end up on the report if they don't actually return. So asking about comparing reports to see returns with reimbursements, there might be a way to do that. I have not figured out a way where you can do that and print it out and see it, but there might be a way to do that, and if I do figure it out, I'll do a blog post about it. But what I do is every time I get a return notification or a refund notification from Amazon stating we're refunding your customer because they're returning this, or we're refunding their customer because of another reason, I always put every single one of those emails in a special folder, and about 45 days after that I go double check to make sure that I was reimbursed for that item. And if I was reimbursed for that item, that's great. If 45 days have passed and the item wasn't returned, I check to make sure I've been reimbursed. If I wasn't, I open up a ticket, ask for Amazon to reimburse me. They do 99% of the time. Sometimes they'll ask for like proof, like receipts or where I got it, and I'll say, I got it at a garage sale, or I got it at a store and I don't have the receipt anymore, and they still reimburse me. I think there might have been one time where I didn't have a receipt for something that they didn't go ahead and reimburse me for. But it's still good to keep your receipts. You want to make sure that you keep all that. But actually printing out a report, looking at reports with reimbursements and returns. Again, sometimes Amazon doesn't include every reimbursement on the report. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they do that. So I love how my wife helps out my scope too. She posts the important points and answer stuff. How can you tell if an item was really put back in your inventory? Well, most likely you'll see it back in your inventory. You can look in your inventory and see if it's still there. And if you have any question, you can open up a ticket with Amazon and ask them to look into it. It's strange. Amazon gives you some information on returns, reimbursements, what they do when they switch around, like do a little switcheroo thing where they, you know, they lose one of your items and then they find an item. Is it really the item that you lost, or is it someone else's item? It's all foggy and hazy, and there's no like real clear cut. So when in doubt, open up a ticket to ask them to look into it. And most of the time they can go and look in their system and see if it's actually something worth doing and fixing, if it was actually, you know, returned to your inventory. Yeah, someone asked if food is reimbursable. That's a good question. Most of the time when food items are returned to Amazon, Amazon will just go ahead and destroy it because it was in someone else's care, and there's no, you know, proof on whether or not that it actually, you know. So I'm not sure about if food is reimbursable, but you know what? Again, when in doubt, ask. If you had somebody buy food from you, grocery items from you, and then they returned it, but then it never actually came back to Amazon, open up a ticket and ask for a reimbursement. So, okay, wholesale strategy. Are you planning to sell single items or use wholesale for bundling? Currently, right now, we're going to start with single items. We might branch out. We're taking it one step at a time. I know there's a lot of different strategies for every area of selling online. There's a lot of different strategies for how to do private label. There's different strategies with wholesale. There's different strategies with retail arbitrage. I mean, there's so many different ones. We're taking it one step at a time. We want to be able to learn something, master it before we go to take it to a deeper level. So we're going to focus on wholesale items, single items, until we feel confident with that. Then we can start wholesaling from multiple places to make a bundle that is unique, that no one else can match, so you can have a very unique item. So it's a good strategy, but it's also good to make sure you master step 1 before you jump to step 2 or 3. So I always talk about focus. The letters that spell out focus, F-O-C-U-S, follow one course until successful. So we're taking each step along the way, learning from it, tweaking things until we feel confident with it, then we go to the next step. So, all right, next question. I've seen some more comments and stuff. What other questions are out there? And yeah, my wife is awesome. She does an awesome job doing the admin stuff. How to handle split shipments. I gotta watch myself. I almost cussed there. How to handle split shipments. There's a lot of different methods. If you are sending large amounts of items, you know, a lot, you know, 20 plus items, 50 plus items, you know, most of the time Amazon will say, okay, you know, 75% will go to this warehouse and 25% will go to this warehouse, and 20, you know, they'll usually split it up where it's not that big of a deal. But sometimes you have a shipment where just 1 or 2 items are going to a warehouse, and for you, it's just not worth the price of shipping to send those items to Amazon. You wish you had more. So there's a couple different options. You can actually go to fulltimefba.com and put in the keywords split shipments, and there's a whole blog post about how to handle split shipments, how to turn on and off the option to have all of your items shipped to one warehouse, or at least for the most part one warehouse, and the pros and cons for that. But I'll try to summarize as best as I can here. Your main options are to keep the shipment open and wait till you have more of those items. I do that sometimes when I've got oversized items. Like I might have 100 standard size items and then 2 oversized, and for some reason Amazon decides to send both of those 2 oversized items to 2 different places. Well, sometimes I'll keep that shipment open and wait till I have more oversized items, and then when I have more oversized, I'll add them to that shipment. And so then once I get, you know, 5 or 6 items together, I'll be like, okay, that's worth it sending it in. I'll close that shipment out and send it in. Other times, I realize, you know, it's going to be a long time before I am able to have enough items. So I might just delete the shipment altogether and then try again later when I have more items that will be able to make it into a shipment. Sometimes I'll have like 20 items and Amazon will spend 19 to 1 and 1 to another. So another option for that is when you're in your shipment, I can't remember what it's called, when you're preparing your shipment on Amazon, actually on Amazon, not through a third party, processor. But on Amazon, sometimes I can delete that shipment with just one, and I can add and change the number 19 to 20 to the other one, so that they're all going to the same place. I don't do this all the time. I don't make it a habit, but sometimes if I realize there's just one that's left out, I'll do that. So a lot of different options for you to handle split shipments. One way is to be patient and wait till you have more items. Another way is to just kind of change the numbers in Amazon. So you tell Amazon, you know, I'm deleting this one and I'm moving the one over to add it up. I saw another question about processing programs when you're both when you're out scanning, and then when you're also listing back at the place you do your business. I was a member of ScanPower for about over 2 years. Used ScanPower since 2011. So I guess actually, wow. So if I started in 2011, then I was with ScanPower for them for about 4 years. In fact, it was before ScanPower was even called ScanPower. It was called FBA Scout, and FBA Power was the name of the business, and FBA Scout was the name of the app. So that's old school. I don't know if any of you were around back then doing that and used FBA Power, but I love it. I still love it. I think it's really good. I think it's awesome. But it was about, and my wife can correct me because I'm horrible with dates, but it was about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, maybe longer, that we transitioned over to Inventory Lab. And Inventory Lab, because of their accounting options and because of some other features that Inventory Lab offers, we transitioned over to Inventory Lab to do all of it. But they're both really good. They both have a good workflow, a good work process. And I know ScanPower just now added accounting features, so I don't have any experience with that. But I've heard good things. But if you want to know more about Inventory Lab and do a free trial with them, you can go to fulltimefba.com/Inventory Lab. It's either Inventory Lab or Inventory-Lab. So if you get a crazy, you know, page by doing one of those, it's you know, it's the other. So it's either fulltimefba.com/Inventory Lab or Inventory-Lab. To be able to do that. But we love them. I've used them both, and they both make it so much easier and so much faster, and just it makes it so much easier than doing it through Amazon. Okay, how do I ship light bulbs? Can I bubble wrap them? And then I didn't see the rest of the question, but I've sold light bulbs before, and yes, I've bubble wrapped them just to be safe. So yeah, bubble wrap them, and I bubble wrapped them where you can't even see what's on the inside. But I made sure that you put the FN SKU, the X label, you know, the little label that Amazon prints out for you that's specific to you, to that item. I made sure I put that on the bubble wrap, and then I put a piece of tape over the bubble wrap so that it doesn't even fall off. So there's no question about my item, and then it's connected to me. So yeah, it's a good idea to protect it with bubble wrap. All right. All right, I saw some more questions come through. I appreciate it. Again, be sure you press copy before you hit send. Can I put them in individual boxes, lot of 6? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If I'm going to send it to Amazon, if I'm selling it as an individual, there's probably not a whole lot of return on investment with that, but selling it as a pack of 6 would probably be a lot better. You'd be selling 6 of them, and there'd be only one pick and pack fee versus selling 6 individual items. It would be 6 pick and pack fees, and so there's probably more ROI on selling it as 6. And so I would not bubble wrap them individually and then put them all together in a box. I would probably just bubble wrap all 6 of them together. Most likely the light bulbs are in some type of cardboard or some type of protected case anyway. You know, whether it's a cardboard frame around them, that should be good enough to protect them, and then the bubble wrap would help them. So that's my advice on, because yeah, I found some hard to find light bulbs at a garage sale one time, and some of them are pretty popular. So it's lightweight, it's awesome, easy to send. What course do you recommend if I'm getting back into FBA books after 3 years? So are you wanting to just focus on selling books, Are you wanting to focus more on selling all different types of items? Because books are awesome, an awesome way to make good money just focusing on books, and of course opening up to other categories too. So yes, focus on books for now. So what best course? There's a book out called I think it's called The Sorcerer's Apprentice, if I remember right. They're trying to make a little play on words with, sourcing. So sorcerer. I've flipped through that book, and it's got some good information. And also I know Rebecca put a comment of the book that you read about book sourcing. I think that's one that we found a lot of good information from, because it not only helps you learn how to source books, but also helps you learn how to outsource your sourcing, because books are a good thing to outsource to have other people do for you. What should I do when someone changed the name of a listing and tanked the price? Well, those are two completely different things, and it really stinks if they both happen. Yeah, when you ever get an email from Amazon that says ASIN update notification, that's something you need to read. That's the email that's telling you that a title has been changed. The title of an item you're selling or have sold, and is still considered, your inventory, has changed. And so you don't want to ever ignore. I did a whole 20-minute video on that, about how to handle when you get emails from Amazon about ASIN updates, ASIN notifications. You can find that on katch.me/fulltime FBA. What you do if someone changes the title of something, you can click that you disagree with that, and then type in your reasoning why. And if it's like a blatant change where it just is really horrible, or changes the entire product, it changes it from a SpongeBob SquarePants DVD to a My Little Pony workbook. It's like, what are they doing? Yeah, they kind of might be in the same kids genre or whatever, but it's just completely different. That messes things up. So if they do something that drastic, open up a ticket with Amazon and tell them. And so you just switch the name around. Sometimes when people switch the name around, they're trying to get better keywords in the title. They're trying to get the most important keywords front-loaded. The first 3 words of a title are usually seen by Amazon as more important, and so those are the most important keywords in a title. And so they might just be trying to do that. So if they're moving keywords around or adding keywords, or you have a voice, you can click yes that you agree with it, or no that you disagree when you get that ASIN update notification. And if the price is tanking, that's just one of those things where it really stinks, but it's out of control. The last thing you want to do is to contact that seller and tell them, what are you doing? This has been selling X amount of time at this higher price. You needed to return to that price, because that's called price collusion. It's a federal offense and something you do not want to get involved in. So never contact another seller asking them to raise their price, or at least be competitive, or even talking about prices with competitors. One of the things you have to do is learn that that's a part of the business, and the price changes on Amazon all come back to supply and demand. When the supply is high, the demand goes down, then the prices will go down. But and we've seen this during Q4, when supply starts to run out and demand rises, prices will rise. And so it flows. And if you go check out camel.com for all the items that you're selling or sourcing, you can look at the past and see, oh man, this has been up to $20 at one point this year, $5 at another point, $15 at another point, $6. And so it goes up and down. Prices are fluid all the time. So, but a lot of the times when prices go down, most of the time they'll go back up. If you look at the camel data and see, you can see maybe when you can expect the price to come back up, and then you need to decide whether or not you want to be patient and wait it out, which is what we usually do. Or if you were like, you know what, I've got so many of these, this price is not ever going to look like we're going to get back and and to the price that I want. So I'm gonna like join the problem and lower my price too, just to get out of it. So, but there's times for both of those situations where you're patient and you hold, and then when you decide, I just need to get out of this item, get this capital back so I can reinvest it in better items. Can you explain the categories on sales ranking charts if I find an item that is in kitchen? Okay, if you're a part of my blog, if you subscribe to my newsletter, a few days ago you got the most recent update to the Amazon sales rank chart. I provide this as a free chart, a free service to you, and it's something that I do every 2 months. I like to update it to get the most recent data of what's in the top 1% of sales rank, what's in the top 5, what's in the top 10% of each sales rank. And the more you source, the more you start to realize different categories have different personalities. And it's crazy. The books act completely different than the home and kitchen category. The baby category acts completely different than they're just all different. The office supply category is one of the craziest ones because, even selling something in the top 1% of the office category could be a long-term hold. It's crazy. So when you're looking at the sales rank chart, Amazon, when it comes to home and kitchen, they lump those two together as home and kitchen. But when you're outsourcing and you got your phone, it says either home or kitchen. But there's no way that we can break that up. And so what we do is we try to look at home, look at kitchen, try to do our best based on our experience. Because the Amazon calls it home and kitchen category, but when you're actually outsourcing, they'll give you the top, the sales rank for just the home or just the kitchen. And so that's a really good question, and it's one that consistently changes how we feel comfortable with what our buying choices are. And so I think one of the best things to do is to just test things out, buy some things, see how they do it. What I've done in the past before is actually, I didn't buy an item, but what I did is I bookmark an item in the home category, bookmark another item from the kitchen category, and I bookmarked those, and I made sure I looked at those every single day, and I actually logged in a spreadsheet what the sales rank did. Okay, it's at 10,500, then it's at 12,015, then it's at 15,400, then and then there was a sale. Oh, it jumped up to 9,000, and then I followed it for like a month or two just so I can get the best understanding for that category. And I saw how that happened with kitchen, and I saw how that happened with home, and so I got an idea. Okay, this item sells that often. This item sells 5 times a month or 5 times a week. And then you can kind of get an idea. Okay, well then this item at this average sales rank sells this amount of times per week. And so, I think with both home and kitchen items, staying under 100,000 is good. Staying under 50,000 is even better. And those are just kind of general. And if I'm calling out the wrong numbers, my wife sources more home and kitchen items than I do. She might be able to correct me on those parameters. But right now, as of January 2016, that's excuse me, where we tend to focus our comfortable, comfortable sourcing decisions for. So, am I going to plan on scoping about the new packing list? There's no scope planned right now, but it's something that it's an idea for the future. So it's something that I'm still working on, still something I'm learning about. And so when I get a good understanding of it, because Amazon keeps changing how they're doing it, they're like, okay, we're going to try it out this way. Now we're going to try this way. Well, now we're going to, but definitely when Amazon makes it a requirement, because right now it's not, when Amazon makes it a requirement, we'll talk about it. We'll tell you what we tried, how it worked, because there's a lot of there's even services that are starting to advertise about helping you with this, packing slip requirement. So yeah, we'll figure that out. And someone asked us about the Michael Hyatt Best Year Ever course. We went through that. last year made a huge impact on our 2015. We went through it again 2016, and we're really excited about what the 2016 has to hold. Okay, what category of items to branch out if I'm not ungated in anything? Well, I think when you're first starting out, books and toys are the best. So books are one of the best categories to start learning and understand how sales rank works and how to understand reselling. Books are the very first, and then toys are probably the next best, because people buy books all day. Kids have birthdays, and there's Christmas, and there's all stuff. People buy toys all day long, every single day of the year. And so those are the two ones to start off with. And then after that, I think picking a category that you feel the most comfortable with is a good idea. Whether you're comfortable with, home and kitchen items, or if you're comfortable with baby items, look into and see what you're most comfortable with, what you already have a foundational knowledge base on, and then you can start building it from there. Okay, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate a little thumbs up below. That'd be really nice. If you have any comments or questions, you can do that below too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we talked about today. And if you're looking for any of the links I talked about in the video, you can find that in the description below. You can just click on that, take you right to where you're wanting to go. And if you want to be sure you don't miss out on any upcoming videos, be sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. We put out videos all the time, focused on helping you make the most out of your time, energy, money with selling on Amazon FBA. And if you want to learn how we are able to do it, find us over at the blog, fulltimefba.com. If you subscribe, you get a couple free PDF downloads that help your Amazon FBA business become easier. And fulltimefba.com has over 100 blog posts, exercise tutorials, walkthroughs, lots of Q&A, stuff that will help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA. Anyway, enjoyed hanging out with you today. I hope to see you again soon, and have a great day. Bye.